Well, hello, I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. And today, this is an episode, what we call The Buck Stops Here, because it really does stop with us. If we want change, we want things to be different in our community and in our life. The buck really does stop with us. And it's just perfect that it's sponsored by Buck's Sanitary Service. Scott and Lisa Weld are awesome people. And they don't have to be on here getting attention. They want to sponsor things in our community so we can all learn more about our community and get better involved in our community. So today we got something really special for you. Hosea Youth Services is an organization that's been around for quite a while. And I love what they do. They're helping kids. I call them kids, but they're youth, young people who are on the streets of Eugene and Springfield, and helping them get their lives back together. And it's just the basic, simple things that they can do. And it's really caring about people, loving people, providing a place for people, providing the basic necessities like food, water, a place to shower, bedding, a coat, that sort of thing. And I thought it'd be really good, just because of the way the world is right now, that maybe we could just kind of talk and get a reality check on what's going on in Eugene. And so I called up Brad Bills over at Hosea Youth Services. I texted him and I said, can you find me a person who's on the streets that's really open and honest, that can just talk to me? And boy, did he find somebody. we got Dylan, my man. So
Hey there.
Kind of introduce yourself and tell people who you are.
Yeah, so my name's Dylan Rogers. I recently turned 24 this beginning of January. Been here in Eugene for 3 years. And it's been an experience, Hosea's has been here for a good portion of it, and it's just kind of been my road to recovery. So yeah, I'm willing to share it with you today. I guess, where I came from and where I'm at right now.
So what brought you to Eugene, Oregon? Tell me about, you guys understood you had a felony and you knew you kind of tell people that part.
So I have a felony from 2015. It was a felony possession of a controlled substance. That was kind of the beginning of my encounters with the law and my substance abuse. And I was really struggling in Idaho to stop. I tried a rehab. I tried a lot of things. I've been in a long-term relationship with someone, and they knew someone that lived here in Eugene. And so we kind of made an ultimate decision that me and her were going to relocate out here and just try something different. We didn't know anyone that was using. So
now, you said to me when we were talking earlier that you guys knew that the laws were a little bit easier here, that you could, I think people should understand that.
Yeah. And so, that's another thing that did kind of attract us here to Oregon, is we knew that for our charges, they weren't violent. They were drug related, that Oregon usually doesn't extradite for that. So we knew that we would probably be pretty good to get through Oregon because of that.
But when you got here, then you got kind of into trouble, and kind of explain it. Tell people what your story is.
So yeah, and then kind of begins my story here in Eugene. I was using for a good period out here, and it got really hard for me and my girl. And I got in a really extreme situation with the law, to where it really just brought a lot of, what was important to me and what I was doing wrong to the surface. And I think what the difference was from Idaho and here, and what really happened, is when I was down at that bottom, I didn't have anything. I had to live in the mission, the Eugene mission. And I was introduced to Hosea's, is that this instant support, for me to face all this stuff. Yes, I had a lot on my plate. It was a lot, but it was stuff I had to deal with, like my substance abuse and my relationships. So
Dylan, does it get to a point where it's just kind of overwhelming and you feel like there's no way out? I mean, you've got all these charges. You're
absolutely. I feel that it just really took time in the treatment that I got. I think it got easier day by day. I knew I had a place to stay. I knew I had the mission, and I knew that as long as I stayed good with them, and they were trying their hardest to work with me through everything that was going on. And I had Brad, who I could be honest with, do you know what I mean? And tell him hey, I am still using, you know what I mean? And go through that struggle and be and just face it. and it eventually just came to the surface and it came out. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to do this, and a lot of support, a lot of people being consistent in your life.
So what was the hardest thing about your life growing up?
I think not really being able to depend on people, not really knowing where people stood. I think my parents and being able to and manipulate. I didn't have anyone in my life that would really be like, "This is where I stand with you." You know what I mean?
So Dylan, was there no line? There was no boundaries?
No, not out there. Not for myself. Not for what I would do to others. I don't feel my parents, were able to, and I feel like this might be for a lot of kids out here. Were able to show me or project the way I looked when I was like, and I feel that being around all these decent people, it kind of showing me like, what's socially acceptable and right attitudes.
So so nobody told you that you fit? You didn't fit in, obviously.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think a lot of young kids, what they go through this generation is we want to hang out with these older people that make things look really good, like shiny and glittery, the drugs, the trap lifestyle, you could call it, living in these houses and doing this stuff, and they've not had like older people to show them that like there's a different crowd you can follow. Like I see people that are my age and younger that bring kids to host. I mean, these adults that I know from when I was, that they're hanging out with, that just live this life, and they're in their 30s, and it's that's what you have to separate people from, and that's what they did for me. I know that in that situation, they took me away from the streets and gave me something I could really, Brad's like a father role to me in a really weird way, but
So do you think that a lot of kids that they're looking for adults, and then they're matching up with these adults who are drug addicts or people that aren't good
I'm
role
getting
models?
into things, I'm getting into things I don't necessarily know for a fact, but I observe it from being on the street and how I behaved. I was with a chick that was 7 years older than me, and yeah, it was fun and games, but she was taking advantage of me in a lot of ways. So
I don't know if you can read this, but Stephanie is saying, "Good luck to you, Dylan. You're a well-spoken guy. I think you will do well."
Yeah, thank you.
What is that?
Awesome. Thank you for the love. I appreciate all you.
What does that mean to you to hear something like that?
Oh, that everything I think about this town is true. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of support and a lot of people that are interested to see there be progress in this type of stuff and to see more situations like what I'm doing. Like I have a lot more to go, but I know that I'm making leap and bounds right now at the pace I'm at, and it would be cool to see other people to get a solid way to get people into that path. Do you know what I mean?
Kinda. So explain it to me too. I love talking to you because you're kind of like a voice. Did you feel when you were growing up, did you feel like you didn't have a voice, like that people weren't listening to you?
No, no, not necessarily. I feel like I always had a voice. I always used it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay,
I've always been a talkative dude. I think it's just
But were people listening to you? Were they paying attention to what you were saying?
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, it just really depends on who you hang out with. It really depends on who you're at, and if people appreciate who you are.
So what's the best thing about you? If you were to sit down and tell somebody your finest quality, what would you say your finest quality is, Dylan?
Me working on humility.
Talk to me about that.
Like I really like doing these things. I really like talking about myself, but I try to stay on the fact of just the support that I've had to even get to where I can have this conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think the best quality I could share is not ever thinking I did this on my own. Like just being appreciative, gratitude, being grateful. I don't, I couldn't put a personality trait on it. I think the main thing I'm trying to say is not having a haughty or like a really cocky attitude about what's going on in my life, because I'm doing very well, but it's from coordination and people really believing that I could do it.
It's people like Brad and others who give a shit.
Yeah, that's a really bottom line way to put it. Yeah.
So Heather Wilson Gibb wants to ask you, with all due respect, were your parents users of substances when you were a child?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of where it starts. I think that's where it stems. A lot of the parent issues that all kids have is usually it has to do with something with their parents using substances. Yes.
Did they use it in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really complicated situation, but yeah, I'll get into that. It was really different with both. I think my mother had a lot of guilt because she dealt more with the system and everything she did with me. And I think she projected that guilt with using with me. And she kind of got something weird out of it because when like it was a manipulation thing. And then my dad, he felt really guilty and would try to really push away from using with me. But he also didn't want me to be away from him. They both were active users. So you got to think about this. You got people that are hanging out with the same people you're buying drugs from, and so that whole parent child role is like diminished. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't look at them that way. It's sometimes they're your friend and sometimes they're your enemy, like, you know what I mean? And so that was really complicated for me to get through and realize that we're all human and we're both on drugs is what it is.
So when somebody like Brad comes into your life, and before we went online, maybe it was on here, I don't remember, but you said he was like a father figure to you. How important is that for a young man such as yourself?
I think that's essential. I think that's, like parent roles, and they come in different ways. I mean, they could be people that give you advice. They could be people that show you how to, like how to be. It goes, I think, goes for male and female. But having the father role for me as a male was really important. Yes, like it was someone for me to get out my thoughts and my struggles, and for him to give me realistic advice consistently, and you know what I mean. So yeah, it was super important. It was an outlet for me. It was definitely an outlet.
So can you define for me? And I'm not looking for the Webster's Dictionary definition. Yeah. I'm looking for the Dillon definition of unconditional love.
Unconditional love. I feel like that's giving like unconditional love. I think it's an act. I don't know, unconditional love, being there fundamentally for someone to live. You may not support what they're doing in their life, but here I feel unconditional love is giving me security. Like, as long as you're here and you're not hurting other people, like I will care for you. If you're following the rules in my house, I will be here. If you're following what I've set in my home, then I will give you help. And I feel that's what unconditional love is.
When you were sitting in jail, what changed for you? Because
it didn't change when I was in jail. No, it didn't change when I was in jail. It was just time to be like, well, because I went through periods through still seeing my girl, and that was really hard for me. So what jail was is time when I was really getting off the train of where we were trying to get me, because everyone was trying to get me in TOEFL classes. Everyone was trying to get me sober, and I would really get bad. They'd put me back in jail and stop me, And so before I did something stupid. So yeah, jail, nothing really changed in jail. I read books, I was patient, and I anticipated what was going to be next. That's what jail was for me. And jail shouldn't be long. I feel like people should get in there to basically get clean, to get sober, and they're going to learn, depending on what they do. But I mean, with my substance issue, I learned a lot from just being out here.
So what do most kids on the street need?
Um, I can't say that. I have to, I have to go to school for that one. I have to go to school for that one. I'll come back to you on that.
So if you go to school, what are you going to be? What do you want to be when you grow up, Dylan?
I have no idea, dude.
Dream, just dream.
It runs through my mind every day. Like sometimes I have a buddy that actually was in the same situation to me, and he's a counselor at Brick House at this recovery place, and it's just a really beautiful situation. And I would like to do something like that, but I still have a lot of demons in my life, so I'm just really trying to make sure that I'm ready for something like that. But I would really like to do something like what Brad does, or be like a social worker, work with kids, and give them opportunities to do something with their lives.
Why?
Why? I feel like that would be eternally rewarding for me to know that like I'm fighting the same thing that was going to be the make or break for me in my life. You know what I mean? I feel like that would keep it going in my life till I pass away. Yeah.
So you want to help people that were in the same situation you were in because you understand it.
Yeah. I feel like I can give a unique touch to it, and I could be my own person and do it my own way and help people. Yeah.
So what you said you still struggle with your demons. What's the one that you can talk about that you'd like to?
I still have problems drinking. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a kid. I've been clean off meth and heroin, and so I'm gonna say I'm proud of that. And yeah, that's just where I'm at. I drink a little bit, and it's not good, but I think most people do. So I feel like I'm making steps forward to being totally sober and clean, but it's still a struggle every day.
So talk to me a little bit about Hosea Youth Services, because when we were talking before we started the broadcast, you were telling me kind of some of the things they provide that you just need. Because one thing about being a kid on the street, or anyone on the street, I'm guessing from what you've said, is you're probably it's not a safe place. I mean, it's not.
No, definitely not.
So you have no downtime. You are constantly, who's going to take advantage of me? Who's doing this? Where do I sleep? What am I going to eat? So talk to me about what the basic needs of human beings that you get at Hosea Youth Services.
Okay, well.
That makes sense?
Yeah, so right now we have a locker system. So everyone has a little locker where they can put their things, and, Brad does a good job at making sure that stuff is safe. We get our mail here. I've never had an issue with my mail, which is great because, I've had issues. I've gotten mail at friends, not gotten it, stuff like that. It makes me feel really better when I know something's going to come here. Regular meals. I think another thing that's really neat is that we have, what are they called? The volunteers. We got people,
interns and volunteers.
Yeah, we have volunteers that come in and they home cook meals. So, you'll see these regular people that come in and they cook, my favorite's the Chinese food one week. It's really good. They come in and they deck it out. It's really cool. So just those little things. What else is there? We have the resource room, and they always try to stock that up. They always try to keep the resource room. The winter when I first got out of jail, I got a sleeping bag that saved my life. I lived on the Burleson Patch. I was staying there over across from the OT Grill, and they gave me a sleeping bag. It was the most simple thing, but it saved my life. So, you know what I mean? Just those things. Even when I wasn't here at night, I was warm. And so you remember that.
So what does the word kindness mean?
Kindness?
To you?
Kindness. I think in this day and age, it's kind of accepting, not necessarily accepting people's bull crap, but accepting people for who they are, and just kind of going from there. I feel choosing kindness over being rude or judgmental. I see that all over town. Choose kindness. Which is, it's a broad statement, but it works in a lot of situations.
Do you think most people that are like me, housed and living in the community, do you think we misunderstand homeless kids?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't, out here, sometimes I don't feel that way. I feel like I've gotten a lot of support from the community, but I see a lot of people. I'm sorry, but I'll blame my peers before I'll blame you guys, because we do some stuff, dude. We do some stuff that's like, how can I relate with you? It's really hard. I've stolen. I've called people just grotesque names. I've cheated people, that were like trying to help me. And so I don't think we're misunderstood. I just think it's really hard to connect with us to where there's a respectable boundary between the youth that are at risk, and the housed people that don't want their stuff stolen, that want to see you do good, but they don't want the issues coming to their doorstep.
I remember interviewing a guy one time, and he worked with, God, I don't remember if David worked with Hosea. I think he did, but he was homeless and on the streets as a kid. And he said people used to come up to him and give him money and then say they were going to pray for him. And then they'd walk away. And David said, then he'd look over and go, they never even asked my name.
Yeah.
So how are you going to pray for me if you don't even know who I am?
Yeah. That's kind of like just blind. I don't know. That's not really helping someone. Money's nice. Money is nice. I kind of see what you're saying there. The money's nice, but they don't really know the person. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah. Well, you want to feel good.
Yeah.
You didn't really
help them.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
What you need is people to care about you.
Absolutely.
To show you and give you respect and listen to you. And for me, what I love about this is I get to give you your voice.
Yeah.
So you can tell people so they can really hear and look at your face.
Yeah.
All over it. You feel like you matter, because you do. And so once you feel like you matter, don't you think then you can start really looking at the world differently?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I definitely feel that. Like once you're given some care and concern in your life and attention to detail to what matters, and it goes a long way.
So people should be supportive of Hosea Youth Services, because there's a place they're doing the stuff that a lot of people don't really want to do, aren't they?
Yeah. No, in this place, I just feel like it's, if you were to really say, it's kind of the front lines of like a lot of what's going on out here in the Whitaker area to all the way to Springfield. Young kids come here. It's one of the main services I know. I see new people in here every day, and Brad's busy making meals. I mean, I try to talk his ear off, and it's like he's battling between dealing with these immediate needs of people, and he's like trying to help me elevate, and it's fun to watch. I don't know, it's really cool to see, like, I'm doing good, but I don't need the help, so I got to be quiet. And so I try to sit here and be polite.
So do this for me, Dylan. Turn it over to Brad there. Hey, Brad.
It's his turn.
So you guys, this is Brad Bill. Don't go anywhere, Dylan. I'm not done with you. So Brad, you're the director of Hosea Youth Services.
Correct.
Is that the right term?
Yep, that's fine. Executive director. Yep.
Head cheese, whatever.
Yep.
So what is that when you hear that young man talking?
It's very touching. I mean, it makes you realize that we're making a difference. And, some days we're down here and it's frustrating, and there's, 30 or 40 or 50 different kids down here, and you don't always see a lot of progress. But then to hear Dylan is very, very touching, and makes you know that we're making a difference, and makes it worth it. So for sure.
So what can people do out there watching this right now? What are some things that they can do practically? Because you can't get into this with the expectation that you're going to change people.
You're right. It's a long-term process for, young men, young women, young men like Dylan, and young women. I guess it's just about being faithful to doing what's right and to being kind, like you guys talked about. So, what can people do? Dylan mentioned that I'm serving lunch and trying to talk with him at the same time. That means we need more people down here that can be that positive influence to develop that relationship, to be that encourager, to be that love, provide that love, to provide the support. So it takes more than just me and a couple other staff people. It takes ultimately it'll take more mentors, more volunteers to be involved.
So people are asking, how can we help?
Yeah. So time obviously is a value. Financial resources. Go to our website, hoseayouth.org. Check us out a little bit. Financial support. And then also we do run a lot of items through this place, where the clothing, toiletries, bedding, sleeping bags, tents, backpacks. So, if you've got some things you want to get rid of, or you want to just help us out by providing some of those things, gift cards to Target, to Walmart, to Freddy's would be great. Those are great to have to give to kids who are making progress. I got a young man who's going to come in today, and he needs some work clothes. So we got to figure out how to get him some work clothes. So there's lots of different ways to be a part of the mission of really helping these kids from becoming chronically homeless.
So this would be everything from actually giving time and being there
Absolutely.
to going. I love that idea. Somebody could go, okay, you know what? I want to help this young man buy his work clothes and get him some nice work clothes, and so he can go in and feel good about who he is.
Yep.
Do you ever know? You never know from moment to moment or person to person which one's going to grab onto that life rope, do you?
No, absolutely not. But I think Mother Teresa was a pretty big inspiration for me, and the thousands of people, probably millions of people that she served. And she doesn't know exactly what impact she had and her ministry had. And again, it's just a matter of doing the right thing, providing love, support, care, and being consistent and trusting that God's going to use that.
Mother Teresa was a friend of former Senator Mark Hatfield.
Oh, that didn't surprise me. Yeah.
No, and when she'd come to Washington, D.C., she would go visit Ted Kennedy because she was friends with Senator Kennedy as well. But she loved Mark Hatfield more than anyone. Yeah. And Mark Hatfield actually went over to Calcutta and saw all the millions and millions of people. And he said, how do you do this? He had this quote in his, and I did a documentary on him. And he said, how do you do this when it's just a drop in the bucket? And she put her hand on Mark Hatfield's hand, and she says, oh, Mark, I am not called to be successful. I'm called to be faithful.
Faithful. That's right.
And I thought that was the most powerful thing, because we're not called to make people do what we want them to do, or, our path isn't their path. But like what you've done for Dylan is just create a path, is thrown a little gravel, dug a little dirt, and shown a lot of kindness, and that changes the whole world for people. And I have so many friends who are, I don't even like to use the word in recovery. I think once you're done, you should get to be done. I'm not a former news anchor anymore. I'm done. That was a time in my life, and I'm done. So I have so many friends who've been in recovery, and they are the most trustworthy people that I know, because I can sit down with them and share my heart, and they share their heart, and they know that this is sacred ground when we're doing this together. You know what I mean? And that's something people, they don't. I can get that from Dylan just talking to him.
Oh yeah, and that's where Dylan, he and I do talk about how I want to hire him here in about 3 or 4 years and have him be a part of what we're doing here. And because I know he's got the right heart, and he has some life experience that will be invaluable for him to be able to really have significant relationships and really make a difference.
Jason Randall's asking, do you have information available for the Methodist Church in Springfield on 6th and C?
We don't have information there. We can get you some information if you'd like. Maybe go to our website, and you can find my email address, or brad@hoseayouth.org. Send me an email, and let's talk about what you're looking for.
Okay, so Jason, get a hold of him. I know Jason. Just get a hold of Brad, and he can email him and then get some of this information out. And then hopefully everybody out there who's seen this, and I contacted Brad, so he didn't contact me as a fundraiser or anything. Mm-hmm. But bottom line, guys, it's the volunteers are awesome, and the food and the clothing and all that stuff is wonderful, and taking on little things. But financial, it's in this day and age. It doesn't happen without money.
We don't apologize for that. I mean, that's and people's financial support, they're just as much a partner in this as I am and our volunteers, because it takes money to make this place go, and God's given us money, and let's use it to benefit others. So
Lori's asking, why hire in 3 to 4 years? If you heard Dylan's comment, he said he's not ready.
Right. Yeah.
He's got some demons, he said, his words, that he needs to tackle. But here's the great news. He knows that they're demons.
Yeah. Well, yes. And Dylan is now, I mean, while he's kind of been here for a while, I feel better when Dylan's here, just because his presence is very positive here. So he already has an influence here in the facility in regards to just the whole aura around here. So so he's very much a part of us, even though he's not a paid staff person or a volunteer.
Brad, thank you for finding this guy.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Throw me back to him. I'm going to end with him. Dylan.
Hey there.
Hey, man. So tell me what you got from this. I want you to close it out, okay?
Oh yeah, thank you. I just I really appreciate it. It's always good just to kind of run through my story and just kind of give thanks to everyone and see that I'm seeing Brad, keep following his dream too of helping people, and it's working. It's just really cool. Life goes full circle when you're doing the honest thing. And so I just hope this helps, and maybe see some new people. Someone be like, hey, I saw you, and that's why I'm here. That'd be kind of cool. So just come in and just be a part of it, and see what's going on here. I think you'd see a lot of interesting kids aside from me that are here that intrigue me every day. Like when I come here, they're cool, and I like to see them succeed too. So
how important is hope?
Hope is, I think it's essential to making us keep going when this stuff is terrible, because it does get terrible out there, and I feel like that's a good point to go off of. Ending it is this place does have a lot of hope in it. It gives people the belief that they can find more.
Hey Dylan, Clara's asking, do they accept clothing there?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not really good at the whole comment thing. I'll get better.
No, that's my job. That's my job.
Come here, and if you over to Grace Fellowship at 834 Monroe, and the back parking lot, there's a doorbell. You can come there and donate anytime, and they'll give you a receipt. It's really easy, and we appreciate it. So
you are awesome.
Wait, how old am I? I'm going to do this right. I'm 24, and I thank you. I'm very appreciative of how positive I am.
That's kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's cool. But I super appreciate it. I do have work today. So
okay, you got to get moving.
No. I mean, if there's more questions, I can keep
going.
I'm
just kind of enjoying talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the look on your face, because that's why I do what I do. It's because
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I like connecting with just all the people I've met. I fought fires this year too, which was another really big thing. I think if we could get these kids to do that, it teaches, I've had him as a father sport, but that showed me people coming together and peers really working together. So another thing I would say is support your firefighters. They're really good people, and they've supported me through my recovery as well. In the short stint, I just did it this summer, so they weren't here through my recovery, but they were a really good part in building my confidence.
All right, Dylan, thank you so much. Tell Brad thank you. Give Brad a hug for me when we're done, okay?
Cool. Right
okay.
On.
I'll talk to you later, and then share this. See you later, man. Have a good day. All right, see you, buddy. All right, well, that's the buck stops here. And we have that organization and many others that are doing the hard work like that. And there are ways that we can all get involved. And so I hope that did for you what it just did for me. I need a little bit of Dylan's hope in my life right now. And I think that if you would do something for me, share this on your page. I know I'm getting a little teary, but that's just how I am. If you share this on your page, you don't know who's going to be out there watching and looking and needs to hear something like that, because I think Dylan has a pretty tough life and has had a rough go, and he still has hope. But we get hope, as he was saying, from kindness of other people and organizations like Hosea Youth Services. So how do you get out of yourself? I think maybe part of the whole thing that's going on right now is people were so focused on ourselves and how we feel. Maybe we need to look at how other people feel and what they're doing. So share this on your page. We want to thank Bucks Sanitary Service, Lisa and Scott Weld. We can't do this without our sponsors. So the fact that they will do that and not have some big honking commercial on here and, hey, go to Bucks Sanitary, which I always think is funny anyway. When you got to go to the bathroom, if there's an outhouse there, you're going to use it. I get that. But if you're going to have a party, or you work for a city, or you're an organization, you just saw what they believe in and what they sponsor. So if you would, say to them, hey, why are we using Bucks instead of so-and-so? That always helps us. So I'll leave you now. Have a great day. We will be back. Let me give you a little tip for tomorrow. So tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, we're going to be with the Boy Scouts. They've had a lot of bad press, going bankrupt. And the reason they went bankrupt has not been talked about in the media. We hear about, former cases involve sex abuse. But there's a really good explanation. And they're going to be a new client. They're going to come in on tomorrow night. We're going to explain the whole thing of what's going on. And then after that, we're just going to promote shows. We're going to show you girls who are now scouts. It's not just Boy Scouts. A lot of transgender kids are now becoming scouts. So it's opened up to a whole different broad perspective, and we're going to show you that. And then on Thursday, Chris Dental, one of our clients, loves to sponsor local businesses because they need our help. And so we're going to be doing a show on All-American Pet and find out what Richie Powell and his organization is doing over there with them. So that's coming up this week. Next week, we've got Junior League talking about sex trafficking. We've got an organization in Roseburg who's fighting to get restaurants open. They're going to be on next week. And we've got At the Car Wash. I'm Rick Dancer. We will talk to you the next time. And be sure and check out our new podcast, because this will be on there, as well as other things that I get to do that I can't put on Facebook because they might pull it. So you'll find that on our Get Real with Rick Dancer podcast on most of the major platforms. And you'll see it on my page. All right. Have a good day. Share it. Thank you.